So how do you want to do this intro thing?
I don't know. Just fucking start it, record, and just go with it. And eventually, just cue me, and I'm like, oh yeah, wait, we gotta start it.
Let's go.
Andrew, hit that music.
You're listening to the DAAB Podcast with your hosts, Andrew Romanella.
It is absolutely popping off.
Do you know what we call that sometimes? Dick high fun balls.
And Anthony Rinaldo.
I'm gonna say something crazy. How about peeing like a dog? Oh, at the buzzer! Oh, he missed it! Oh, OT.
The show starts now.
Brush your shoulders off. Ladies is pimps too. Go on, brush your shoulders off. This is crazy, baby. Don't forget that boy told you.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. This is the DAAB Podcast. I am your host, Andrew Romanella, and alongside me, my partner, Anthony Rinaldo.
Hey, Drew. How are you?
I'm excited. Episode 23, my man, of course. DAAB Balls on Twitter and Instagram.
Social media blitz.
DAABpodcast.com. However you listen and subscribe to your DAAB Balls podcast, keep listening, keep sharing, keep subscribing. Of course, you can get it on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, and iTunes. Anthony, a lot of sports, but we're starting in golf.
He just putted the ball a little bit like an amateur. You know, he got a mini putt, a little putt, a little 1-2, Andrew. Come on, no big deal.
Is the Phil Mickelson?
Did you not see the outrage?
I saw it.
Are we that waspy, Andrew, where we're high and mighty?
I don't think
Is the golf the sport? Did you see the crap this man was getting? The apologies he needed? Did he hurt somebody? Did he punch his wife? Did he do something stupid? No, Andrew. He pulled a you-move. I've seen you do this.
Yeah, well, maybe.
What were you saying, Andrew? I'm sorry.
I wasn't that mad
I'm irritated.
Listen, I wasn't that mad at it.
Shinnecock was crazy.
I like your energy. The course was brutal. Except on Sunday. They fixed it for Sunday. It played appropriately on Sunday. My question to you is, do you like watching golfers struggle at that level? At such a major, obviously, which is only 4 a year, but 2 at the U.S. Open, which is obviously historically known as the most difficult, but that was a different degree.
I love it. I love watching these guys hack it up, just like I do out there. Some pro broke 90. That's fantastic. He came away after that round and said, I haven't broke 90 since I was a teenager. That's how brutal the course was.
I mean, listen, I shot an 82 last week, and Phil came in with a round of 81, so that made me feel pretty good about myself as well.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, but if I go to Shinnecock, I shoot 105.
Typical Long Island course. Typical Long Island attitude with the course, too. Kind of a big F you to the players.
Before we get into Bruce Koepka winning it 2 times in a row, how much that means, and I want to get your opinion on where golf is moving forward as a sport, how about the crowd at the U.S. Open this year? If you were watching on TV, you were regularly hearing a lot of reckless sounds from the crowd. People yelling out things to different golfers, and I heard a few different people talking about how, I guess it's just a New York attitude, and it's just kind of, you got to expect it if you're coming to New York, but that is, I give those golfers a lot of credit because there's certain shots on the golf course in that setting at a major where there's a camera guy 4 feet behind you, and there are a lot of people watching right next to you, and there's nothing you can do about it if somebody yells something from the gallery.
Exactly, and you saw the repercussions of it when Rory McIlroy, a few tournaments ago or last year, what it was, when he got a little riled up by the crowd. They said some inappropriate stuff, probably about his wife. Always crosses the line once you hit the mother, the wife, his kids, whatever have you. But I mean, Andrew, watching that on TV, as great as the crowds were, I mean, you could see the frustration of how difficult this course was. And you typically see the pros throw up these great shots, and they stick it to the pin, and these things were rolling left, right, coming back at you. Guys were taking 10s on holes, 9s. People were in there's holes with par 3s with no water, and they were getting 6s. Pros were getting 6s, Andrew. That's fantastic. I love seeing the winner. What was Koepka, +3?
+1.
Oh, +1 was
but
the winner?
Nobody was under par. Think about that. Won the U.S. Open with nobody on par. I mean, what was really cool was Tommy Fleetwood shot a -7, tied the course record with a 63.
That's impressive.
That was very impressive. So he made a real good push and actually was in the clubhouse for what I feel like was probably 6 or 7 holes that Koepka had to finish and play, and it fluctuated a lot. Dustin Johnson fell off a little bit, but what was fun for me was it was interesting down the stretch. And I think it's pretty cool to watch. I mean, we watched the Golden State Warriors win back-to-back NBA titles. We talk about the Chicago Bulls. We talk about Kobe Bryant and the Lakers. We talk about the New England Patriots. We talk a lot about teams that are dynasties that win multiples and win consecutives. For a guy to do it for the first time since 1988, 1989, at what was probably one of the most difficult courses these pros are going to have to play now and in a long while, is very impressive. And Brooks Koepka is legitimately a name in golf moving forward.
I mean, listen, I think he only has 3 wins, though. It's these 2 U.S. and I think a PGA he won. But listen, you go back-to-back, I don't care who you are.
It's impressive.
Exactly. Look at the Warriors. They went back-to-back. Golf's such a singular sport. It's basically you and your caddy every once in a while. Shout out all the caddies.
So here's my question to you. Golf moving forward, we grew up in the Tiger Woods era. And obviously Tiger Woods, my pick of Jordan Spieth, Rory McIlroy, that bunch of guys, plus 10, plus
Fowler,
8, plus 9. They didn't even make the cut. That just bad golf. But we grew up in the Tiger Woods era where one man dominated golf and one man made golf relevant. And to this day, even with Tiger not making the cut, even with Tiger struggling, coming in and out of back injuries the last 3.5 to 4 years, people watch when Tiger Woods is there. Well, the fact of the matter is Tiger Woods is no longer Tiger Woods. So moving forward, is it good for golf to have guys like Dustin Johnson and Brooks Koepka and Tommy Fleetwood and all these different guys, Justin Thomas, these different guys? You hear a bunch of different names that are really good golfers, but nobody that's going to grab the sport like Tiger Woods.
Fowler, Patrick Reed.
That are going to give us days like we got on Sunday
Justin Rose.
at the Open. Yes.
Listen, Andrew,
Is that better?
I could rattle off probably 10 to 15 names. I got a few buddies in the golf industry who watch your stuff religiously. I can't say I have the same fervor. I know you like that word, Andrew.
SAT.
For the sport anymore because Tiger's not really Tiger. And you saw the headlines going into this U.S. Open. Is Tiger back? Can he win this U.S. Open? What's Phil going to do? I think Phil and Tiger move the needle still to this day, even though their golf really hasn't been up to what we expect, and to move that golf needle even further. And, Tiger spawned all those names we just mentioned, the Fowlers, the McIlroys, all those guys. But the Spieths. But I think golf needs one kind of notorious name, one kind of relevant leader because when Tiger Woods had golf by the short hairs, Andrew, people were tuning in. Sundays at master tournaments, at the Opens, any of the PGA, those were must-watch events, especially when Tiger had a few-stroke lead because he had that red shirt on, he was playing defense. Eye of the Tiger, he's bending brow, he's reading putts, Andrew. He's sweating like Shaq at the free throw line. We don't have that anymore, I don't think.
And I think that's what is, I guess, I don't know if nervous is the word, but interesting for golf moving forward, because what is going to grasp the attention of people when, especially in a year like this, when you're competing against the World Cup. So baseball, yeah, okay, but baseball's played so often that it's an easy reason for people to switch off of baseball to a sport like golf or a major. But when you're competing against stuff like the World Cup, now you're lumping that into the category. It's tough. And if you don't have a brand name, a guy that people know and actually want to go watch play the game of golf, people can find it rather boring to watch, especially on TV. And I think that's where you're going to lose. And it is a similar parallel to baseball in the fact that watching the game takes a special type of eyes, because there will be a lot of standing around. There will be a lot of kind of awkward silence. That just happens sometimes in the game of baseball and sometimes in the game of golf. And I think without a guy with the type of bravado that Tiger Woods had, the type of charisma, and not to mention the fact that he was African American, which was huge for a sport that was predominantly known as being a white sport.
Can you call golf a sport, Andrew? I feel like
Yes.
it's recreational. I feel like it's a recreation.
If you can make money, it's a sport. If you can make money doing it, it's a sport.
Have you ever seen me play foosball? Is that a sport, Andrew?
I mean, paintball is a sport. There's
Fun
professional
sport.
paintball.
Listen, sign me up.
Professional beach volleyball.
Oh, that's fun.
That's
fun.
an interesting conversation.
I don't like
How deep can you go in professional sports? Like, how deep can you go? I mean,
Like, how deep can you go in NCAA sports?
You've watched darts. I mean, there's equestrian in the NCAA.
Remember ESPN used to show the darts, what was that, that game, the 500, 501?
Yes.
It was like a tournament.
And there's a
And cricket.
million people there live watching that
I feel like darts and poker were such a high fad.
for about
in
5
the,
years.
In the 2000s, like the middle, like 2000, 2010 range.
I remember
Everybody was playing poker.
the
Everyone
World
wanted to play
Poker
darts.
Tour.
Yeah.
Everyone had the World Poker Tour stuff. On hockey trips, we did all that
We're on a
stuff.
tangent right now. We're
No,
talking
who
about
cares?
golf, soccer, World Cup going on, Andrew.
All different type of sports. The
Phil
World Cup.
Mickelson getting yelled at by old dudes.
All right, before we hit the World Cup, do you think he disrespected the game?
Come on, stop. The only thing he disrespected
I
was
liked
himself. I mean, I love. He said he knew the rule. I guess because he's kind of like, I guess they're gonna do what they're gonna do. I'll have to take it. And he comes back in the presser later. Oh yeah, I had it in my back pocket. I knew where my ball was gonna end up. I probably wouldn't make it in 2 strokes. So let me just take a 2-stroke penalty, walk to the next hole. I mean, he was plus 17 after that, Andrew. So did it really matter? No. I mean, did it? I mean, are we that uptight these days,
I agree.
Andrew?
I agree.
That like they had to apologize. People were like saying he should be disqualified. Really? I mean, Rule 3-7 QR9er of the Bro Code. You're not allowed to do that on a major. I mean, listen. Check this out, stat boy. 1921 British Open. Bobby Jones gets in one of those pop bunkers. You know those pop bunkers. They kind of just pop up in the middle of nowhere.
Yep.
And on the old course at St. Andrews. And I know you like my Scottish accent.
Love that Scottish accent.
Dude takes 4 or 5 whacks, doesn't get it out, picks his ball, puts it in his pocket, walks off the golf course. Nobody gives a shit because it's 1921, Andrew.
No, they're using
There's no
wooden
social
gloves.
media blitzing back then.
No, but that is it though. It's
Get off the
because-
man. He didn't do nothing. He was bored. He wanted to move to the
agree.
next hole. Let's go.
I agree. Listen, and people are mad at him. Don't try and hide behind the fact that there's a rule and you were that's not it at all. Well,
Just admit you're a goofball. You
I
had a little
agree.
moment there. You had a meltdown. The course was eating you alive. You're plus 17.
and it didn't matter.
We've all been there. Come on. I did it on a regular.
Ronaldo on the regular
Rinaldo, my long lost cousin.
has been.
I should have named my son Cristiano.
You should have.
He might have gotten the sponsorship just by accident. Somebody puts the wrong initial.
Oh, yeah.
Ronaldo. I mean, listen,
And I mean, hey,
kids
maybe
got to try, right?
he has to try. Well, he went off the other night. 3 goals against Spain. They were at a 3-3 draw as a final, which I feel like is one of the best. It's probably the best scenario for both teams, but who am I? What do I know about the football? Although we talked about it on Friday. Germany lost to Mexico.
Big upset.
Big upset.
Germany looked slow.
Looked
Sluggish,
slow.
Andrew.
There was a lot of political
Looked like
issues.
the reason why the Italian team was out of the World Cup.
And there were a lot of political issues going on with the German team and some of their best
Well,
players.
hold on. Before you get off the man Ronaldo, how about the dude is in trial back in Spain, owes in Portugal, wherever he's from,
Portugal.
$21 million unpaid taxes. Facing jail time,
Wow.
dude shoots a hat trick.
Wow.
Talk about dirt off your shoulder.
So does that change your depiction of him?
I mean, people are talking about the
I mean,
pressure.
that's interesting. That's a
People
lot.
are talking about the pressure of Messi and the Golden Boot, which is the award for the most outstanding player of the tournament, Andrew. For those not,
Soccer aficionados.
abreast of the rules like this guy is. But I think there's no pressure on Ronaldo because Portugal just won the UEFA European Championship, Andrew. He's got championship flavor, Ronaldo, and he played pretty well. He's playing well right now. I follow him on Instagram. Dude's living the life.
But this is a career-defining tournament.
You're right, but I don't think Portugal has the horses. Similar to Portugal is like the Cleveland Cavaliers of soccer. They have the star, but they have nothing else behind it.
What's crazy about
He's going to carry Portugal through the stage.
probably lose with 8 or 4 teams remaining, somewhere in that range.
Right.
Well, think about what's crazy about soccer, and we had this discussion a little bit on Friday, with what type of athlete from other country goes and plays soccer instead of going to play other sports, right? There are a lot of players that are the best could be revered as the best soccer players in the world, some of the best at their craft during their time, that will never really have a chance to go away with the greatest trophy in soccer, which is the World Cup and winning for your country, just simply because of the country they are born in. And you could see that with Lionel Messi. You could see that with Cristiano Ronaldo. You could see that with Neymar. You could see that with some of the best players in soccer right now and in the history of the game internationally not win. And we as Americans so often define the greatest players by the championships they win and the greatest achievement, which would be the Stanley Cup, Alexander Ovechkin, the NBA championship, LeBron James, etc., etc. And in soccer, because it is so hard to win the World Cup, and it so much does matter to your point about the horses around the best player and what country you're born in, because a lot of it is also out of your control. And that's what I find so interesting, and the passion those fans have for their favorite players and for their countries is unbelievable.
And I think you see in all the players, the big name players, Neymar, Messi, Ronaldo, the pressure these guys face in the World Cup because their countrymen hold this tournament so high up, which is kind of a shame that the USA, we don't even qualify. And I know, shout out Rocky Romanella hitting us up on the Friday DAAB saying, giving us a quick logic on why the best athletes in America don't play soccer.
DAABballs@gmail.com.
There you go. Great little insight, Andrew. Email us. Hit us up. We're lonely. We don't get the athletes, but you see the top list of Forbes athletes who make the most money in the world. And the top, 15 guys are all soccer players. Neymars, the Ronaldos, the Messis. Don't Americans see this? And you watch them play soccer. Yeah, there's a chance you're going to blow a hammy out. But most of the injuries, they just fall down. There ain't nobody around them. They come out, they spray that magic spray and a little bit of water, and they're back on the pitch. It's magical, Andrew.
That's my only gripe about soccer.
How do you...
Only gripe.
How does that not translate? I think with the younger kids, maybe we'll see it sooner than later. With the football, a lot of kids aren't, a lot of mothers aren't letting their kids play football anymore, so maybe that'll translate to them playing soccer. But the headers, I get the headers are still an issue with the young talent. And some leagues even will penalize you for heading the ball, which is just ironic because it's going to happen. But I just need to get 2026. USA better put up some kind of talent because we are good at everything but soccer.
Well, I think it's a huge moment for the United States Soccer Federation moving forward because of that 2026 World Cup combo host bid. You have 8 years to sharpen the blades, so to speak.
Mold the team.
Absolutely.
We got to find a coach. We haven't had a stable coach in years.
Yes.
Andrew, put in my resume.
Well,
I play a lot of FIFA.
Hey, that might
4-3-3 attacking. Let's go.
I like that. And that's what it comes down to. Much like we talk about the New York Knicks or the New York Giants or the New York Mets rebuilding and retooling and doing whatever. This is the time period right now. You have, at the highest stage, failed in the world of soccer. Because really, maybe in terms of the USA's most popular sports, soccer isn't there, but let's realize something. 90% of everyone that is not the United States of America, his favorite sport is soccer. That's just how it operates. So we as a country, on the men's side, we need to start taking those steps.
Listen, I don't care if our under 20 kids, our U20 kids are playing overseas in the Bundesliga, in the Serie A, in the Spanish league, in the Brazilian league. You can play there all you want, but just come back every 4 years to make our team good and relevant. I got to think we have the talent. I just think it comes down to coaching and the amount of, I would say, money and or facilities that we're not putting into the program. Not enough time, not enough effort to make it like what these other big countries make it. I feel like these other countries really show a pride almost, Andrew.
But it was so cool because the last World Cup, the I believe that we will win thing went wild.
Wildfire.
And then it rolled over into the Women's World Cup. And that was a really cool moment. And I thought those things you're matriculating and you starting to hear better young names in soccer. You saw a guy like Landon Donovan leading the way. You had a guy like Tim Howard, who was an iconic goalkeeper who was playing in some top leagues overseas, which gives you such credibility. And you thought it had turned. A top 15 team could qualify every year for the World Cup and maybe compete and get to the round of 8 or always be a consistent round of 16 team. I think that's what everyone's looking for. But unfortunately, what feels like a real turn for the worse has gone the other way. And we're living that reality right now with this current World Cup.
Similar to Landon Donovan, I don't want to get you any grief for this, but I'm going to shout out the Mexican head coach. He's got a great quote here. His name is Juan Carlos Osorio. He said, "Play for the love of winning and not the fear of losing." God damn it, Andrew, that hits me right in the tinglies.
That's the truth. We always see teams in professional sports. You could go down the gamut that play not to lose instead of play to win, and you watch that happen.
I want to shout out one dude to watch. He's Serbian. I'm going to butcher his name, but he's apparently a young 23-year-old stud. He's going to be named to watch. He scored that goal for Serbia, the game to win in the first match. His name is, we'll go with Serge Milinkovic Savic.
Wow.
I butchered that name probably, but just watch him. He plays for Serbia. He's all over the internet. Look him up, Google him, watch his goal. It was a laser beam. I think it was a free kick. I mean, Andrew, let's get to Friday. I think Brazil's got a big matchup. I need Argentina to show a little faith. Messi's got to show up. Boy, Ronaldo got 3 already on him.
Where are your bananas right now?
They're all over the place.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm like playing like Mario Kart. I'm throwing them out all over the map.
All right, and hopefully people are spinning.
Slipping.
And you're adding bananas to your stock. Well, you know what? I have a player to watch as well, Anthony.
Give it to me.
You know who that is?
Who's that?
Franchise Construction.
Frankie Franchise played soccer back in his day.
Our man, Frank Franchise Construction. Call him at 973-789-6236 or email him at frank.franchiseconstruction@gmail.com. He'll do the kitchen. He'll do the bath. He'll do the deck. It's interior. It's exterior. It's remodeling. It's redesign. And it's reloving your home with Franchise Construction. He's the man. Tell him DAAB Ball sent you. You're probably not going to get a discount, but at least he knows that DAAB Ball sent you. 973-789-6236 or frank.franchiseconstruction@gmail.com.
Wait. That means there's a hockey update, Andrew. Hockey's over. Stanley Cup's done.
It is.
Ovechkin still partying. What are you doing, Andrew? What do you want?
Well, we got the Ovechkin watch, so we're at 227. No. He's probably is drunk that long, though.
That's right.
But I'm not going to bore
Don't
you with
blame
that.
him.
Because you could just go look at his Instagram.
Ovechkin, hop on a podcast, buddy. Love to have you.
Would love to have you. One note, and this is why we have the Frankie franchise and we have the NHL update. Barry Trotz, Anthony, the now former head coach of the Washington Capitals, has
Stanley Cup winning Washington Capitals.
Yes, has resigned, has stepped down as head coach because of a slight contract dispute with upper management. He had a small increase kick in because he won the Stanley Cup. That was a nice little bonus, like something like $300,000 or in that range. But he is nowhere near one of the most paid coaches in the NHL. Here's a little bit of a background on Barry Trotz, Anthony. 11 of his 19 years coaching in the NHL, he has made the playoffs. He is currently 5th in the NHL all times in wins. He has now taken the Washington Capitals to their first Stanley Cup championship, and prior to Washington, took Nashville to the playoffs and put Nashville on the map for the first time in that franchise's history. So why Washington would not lock this man up is beyond me.
Well, I guess they have faith in his understudy. But Andrew, I feel like almost every team has hired a coach, correct?
Except...
Wait, no. Don't say it. A hometown team?
the New York
A
Islanders.
local squad? Do you think anybody will just kind of, now that Trotz is available, kind of kick their coach to the curb? You think any of these teams are like, will kind of show them the door to open up their wallet for Mr. Trotz?
There has been rumors that because people love what he has done in his last 2 stops, and how can you not? I mean, listen, he just took the historic team that always finds a way to fall short to the ultimate prize. Yes, there are teams out there that have already started to matriculate that would be thinking about letting their coach go. But the thing that the Islanders have over everybody else is Lou Lamoriello, who is a 3-time Stanley Cup winning general manager himself with the Woot New Jersey Devils. He obviously went to Toronto, and everyone can see what he did with that Toronto franchise in a quick 3 years. Now he's with the New York Islanders. He's let go of the head coach and the general manager. They have to re-sign John Tavares. They're getting a new rink in the next 3 years. He says he wants to kind of get that done a little bit quicker. But at the end of the day, if you're the New York Islanders, I think over re-signing John Tavares, your first goal is to get Barry Trotz in the door. Back the Brinks truck up to him, baby. Give him 3.5, 4 a year. I mean, Joe Quenneville, Stanley Cup champion coach in Chicago, he's making about 6.5 a year. He's probably not going to get that much, and that's fine. But the man deserves a pay raise. So if you're the New York Islanders, if you're Lou Lamoriello, if you can get Barry Trotz in the door, I think, A, you have a better shot of signing John Tavares, who is arguably one of the top 10, top 5 best players in the league. And 2, you give your organization more credibility, which is the reason why you hired Lou Lamoriello in the first place.
Trotz watch. Heard he landed in Newark Airport, Andrew, just the other day. Listen, you want to keep John Tavares in Long Island? It's a pretty good start by hiring Lou Lamoriello. Then you hire a Stanley Cup winning head coach. Andrew, talk to me.
I mean, the hardest thing moving forward for the Islanders is...
Who's coaching the Devils? Let's fire him. Let's get Trotz in there.
No. I like John Hines. No way.
All right.
No way. The Devils just made the playoffs.
There we go.
Forward.
Let's fire Fizdale. Trotz to coach the Knicks. Nailed it.
Hey, you know what I did here, though? And we'll get back to the regular scheduled program. But I heard today that Fizdale has actually had a very positive effect on the NBA draft picks that have sat down for dinner with him or had a meeting with him on their feeling towards the New York Knickerbockers. Immediate impact.
Woo!
You gotta love it if you're
Who's
the Knicks.
excited? Yay!
Well, I guess Barry Trotz will be in the door next week for the Knicks. Well, you know who won't be having a coaching change in the near future is probably your New York Yankees. And they are probably the only team in history to be this good and probably still not be considered the best team in Major League Baseball because the Houston Astros exist.
Andrew, I think it's time for my little AR power rankings, buddy. I think I got to give you my update.
We haven't had a few power rankings for you in a week or two. It's been a minute.
Has it been that long?
It's been a minute since we've had a power ranking.
Well, listen, not much has changed, Andrew. You kind of convinced me to change my lower half. But listen, my top 5, you argue with me all you want. Houston, my Yankees, Boston. I'm going to throw this team in there. I'm a little upset with them. I'm going to flip it right now. Give me the Cubs at 4 and the Nationals at 5. I could drop the Nationals even lower because I'm watching them play. They don't impress me. Bryce Harper couldn't hit the broadside of a barn right now. He can shave his beard all he wants, change his look up. He still hit batting about 200, which is brutal.
My only argument, and I don't even know if it's an argument, because I do agree with you that the talent level of the Washington Nationals is definitely in the top 5 of the league. But I think currently playing right now, regardless of what's going on or prior or previous results, these are the 3 teams I'm going to throw out to you that might jump them. Seattle, obviously, who the Yankees are dueling with now. Milwaukee, and Atlanta. The Dodgers are playing better, not moving up there yet. Arizona is playing well, but you saw what the Mets did to Arizona, and to me, that's a red flag. Because, listen, I'm happy to see the Mets do it, but you understand why that's a red flag. And then for me, Cleveland, I said to you before, and I'll say it to you again, they're just not going to be a top 5 team for me all year right now. Because A, I actually think there are a lot of teams that have jumped them, and B, they just haven't played that well all year.
I hear you. And I believe all those teams you just mentioned will all be buyers up until the 7/31 trade deadline, which is going to be just a crapshoot, Andrew. Because like I said, I keep gnawing at my fingernails. Yankees need pitching. I mean, I think we're getting quite the outing from Domingo Germán as we cast tonight, and that was always a good sign, Andrew. We got our ace Severino. We got two guys on the DL, Tanaka and Montgomery. CC, although got us to the 8th inning, scattered 10 hits, gave up a few runs. That's CC will be solid for us, but we need another pitcher. And Andrew, I want to say we need a lefty. We need another southpaw.
Germán went 7 innings, gave up 2 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned, struck out 9.
That's solid.
He threw 96 pitches.
I think it's only his 8th start, maybe not even.
And I agree with you that a left-hander is probably what you need to go after. I've heard a lot of J.A. Happ recently. Your thoughts?
J.A. Happ. I like it for one reason and one reason. Well, 2 reasons. He's a lefty, which Boston, if you look at their splits, Andrew, I don't know if you can pull it up for me. Their righty-lefty splits, I think they're batting over 300 against righties, and they're batting close to $190 against lefties.
Yeah, they're bad against
lefties. So
lefties.
the Yankees should stock up lefties for the long haul. J.A. Happ pitches for Toronto, also in the AL East, who faces Boston 19 times a year. So I'm confident that he's been through that lineup before, so he knows who he's pitching against, which is always a plus. The only thing that scares me with him, not a lot of playoff experience. Same thing with Sonny Gray on the back end of our rotation. Cole Hamels comes to mind, Andrew. Cole Hamels.
You've talked about Cole Hamels a lot.
J.A. Happ, and now I'm going to throw in Blake Snell.
So wait.
I really want Blake Snell, but I don't think Tampa Bay will give him up. But I'm willing to give up not top prospects, but better prospects. I think Tampa Bay would get the best prospects, the guys right now to play for them, for a Blake Snell.
Do you think that Andujar is, or a Clint Frazier, or a prospect of that caliber is on the level of a Snell, or do you feel like you need to see a next step caliber guy to want to give up an Andujar or a guy like that?
Honestly, I could wait and see with that one with Andujar. First, I'd offer, for Blake Snell, I'd offer up Justice Sheffield, our stud. I think he's at AA right now. I'd offer up Clint Frazier and possibly another pitcher. I think Eric Swanson is another young cat everyone's kind of eyeing right now. I start with those 3. If Tampa Bay bites on that, you're golden. If you got to throw an Andujar in there, which I hate doing because I don't want to lessen our offense to improve our pitching per se, Andrew, because I feel like if you take away that bat that Andujar has, I don't know. I feel like that's weakening our team. So I wouldn't offer him just yet. Although Drury is crushing it at AAA.
Well, I think
Drury's only 25 as well.
If you get Fulmer from Detroit, Andujar, I think he's worth it.
No, I don't like Fulmer. I know you got him for 5 years, which is great.
But he didn't pitch for the Mets.
Yeah, you're right.
He pitched in their AAA team.
But I'm telling you, I would rather have Happ, Hamels, or Blake Snell.
And by the way, the splits on the Red Sox, they're getting 269 versus righties and 235 versus
I thought it was a lot worse. Someone told me it was a lot
I thought
worse.
it was 2. But then again,
I think it was Buster Olney.
They could also be taking that from the standpoint of they're omitting guys that don't have the batting average the amount of at-bats that qualifies, which is probably 100. So if you took the guys that had the batting, had at least or a certain amount of at-bats versus lefties, my assumption is that number would get a lot lower. Either way, they're not great against left-handers, and the Yankees need, in my opinion, 2 arms.
I mean, listen, two sounds a little...
Once Montgomery went down, I feel like a second arm became apparent.
I think what you have with Loaiziga and Germán will get you through the regular season, as long as obviously nobody else comes. Because Tanaka has hamstring injuries, so I'm not too worried about him. Obviously, his elbow is a ticking time bomb, so you worry about that. But I think you can rock with your offense, Germán and Loaiziga. I'm probably saying that wrong, but we'll go with it. Those 2 could probably carry you. But when it comes to crunch time, Andrew, playoff baseball, it's Severino, it's going to be CC, Tanaka, and Gray. You're 4 right now, obviously pending injury. But I think you bolster it with a Cole Hamels, who's got a lot. It's not 2009 Cole Hamels, people. We get it. But it's a guy who can pitch under pressure. It's a guy who's not going to require a lot of high prospect because it's a lot of money the Yankees take back. So Texas just wants to get rid of it. And J.A. Happ, same thing with Toronto. Toronto's not going to require Andujar or anybody like that. They'll just, because I think he's $13 million. Although at July 31st, it'll only be $6 million half the year, which is a nice little salary to pay up. So those are the guys I want, Andrew. That's my wish list. So give it to me.
You know what's really hard right now in Major League Baseball and even having this conversation is the fact that there are so many teams in the race right now. I feel like it's either it's teams in the race or it's teams that are so bad you probably don't actually want anybody on their roster anyways. And I think that's what's so hard about determining what might happen at this trade deadline for Major League Baseball because there's so many teams in the mix. Now, my question to you as a Yankees fan, and I would ask the same question to a Red Sox fan, and I'd probably ask the same question to a Mariners or an Astros fan as it's currently constituted, but I say those 4 teams because they're all above 45 wins and fighting for first place in their division and could possibly end up as a wild card that wins 90-plus games. As a fan, does that just frustrate the hell out of you that you could possibly be a 93, 94-win ball club and you end up playing a 1-game winner-go-home playoff?
Andrew, if we don't win over 105 games, I'm going to be mad. You heard it here. Listen,
that's not possible.
Yeah, sure
That's
it is. We're easily a 100-game winner. And sadly, one of us or Boston, will both be 100-game winners playing in a stupid, although not stupid because it brings a lot of revenue for the game, so
and
well,
it doesn't
well done
add
MLB.
teams to the wild card. It
A
adds
lot of the
teams to
Mets. The Mets did it.
Yeah,
Right?
2016.
15, wasn't it 15?
No, 15. 15 they won the NL East
We won
because they
right.
traded for Cespedes, and that's the year they went to the World
Right,
Series.
right. Yeah, and 2016 they got in but lost, right?
They got in but lost. Yep.
Your buddy Craig Counsell, right?
I was there.
Ooh, you're a jinx.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah. Connor Gillespie, I believe, hit the home run in that game.
Andrew, we need
For the
100.
Giants.
Andrew, I think we get the 100 wins. I feel like, because look at the Yankee, pull it up for me if you can, since you're standing there. Look at the Yankee batting averages. They're outrageously, some of these guys are batting way below what they're typically batting.
And the Red Sox offense is really freaking good.
JD Martinez, that
They're
dude,
really good.
check that man for steroids, Andrew.
That is one of the best offenses. Like, if you don't realize how good the offense
Benintendi,
Oh,
Betts,
man.
Martinez,
They keep coming
Bradley,
at you.
Devers. I heard they were knocking on Machado's door.
All right, here you go.
Rattle off some of these terrible batting averages the Yankees have right now.
Brett Gardner, 258.
He's injured, but he's typically 280.
Gregorius, 256. Giancarlo Stanton, 252.
Red hot Giancarlo Stanton.
Greg Bird, 211.
Brutal.
Neil Walker, 204. Brandon Drury, 217.
He's in minors.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to keep going down the list. I'm bad. Tyler Wade, 086. That was a rough 13 games for him, huh?
Come on, keep it going.
Gary Sanchez, 191.
Yeah, brutal.
I'm gonna stop
See?
there. That's just bad.
I mean, yes.
We're hitting 251 as a team, Anthony.
Andujar and Torres will come back down to earth because they're rookies and are young, and obviously pitching will figure out hitting. Good pitching always figures out good hitting, but once Sanchez starts hitting, and you see, unfortunately, driving in to see your handsome face tonight, he hit 2 ropes to left field. Just happened to be right where a guy was standing.
Yeah, but does batting average really matter in today's baseball? I mean, think about it. I'm listing off all these batting averages, right? And I'm looking at their 251 team average, but what's their record?
They're like 45 and something.
They're 48 and 22.
Right. Like I'm saying, Andrew, we can be better. So why can't we get 100 wins? I want 100 wins. This team.
They just beat the Seattle Mariners.
That's right. Come get some, Seattle.
So now they improve.
Take your call for go home.
So that's 49 and 22. And you're talking about 251 batting. So my point is, does batting average really matter? Because, and I think it does. It does. Because
more on base.
At the end of the day, the teams with better batting averages are most likely going to be the teams at the end. But if you keep looking at the stats for the New York Yankees, I mean, they have 354 RBIs as a team. I mean, at the end of the day, you could be hitting 150. If you have 350 runs scored as a team, and you've played 70-something baseball games, I'll take that.
I don't think the Yankees are going to win at a 700 clip, Andrew. I think they're right below that, like 680 something.
They've scored 363 runs as a team in 69 games played.
That's quick math. Is that like 5 or 6 runs a game? What's the average of that?
That is significant. That's a really good average. That's what that is.
That's a really good average.
You told me there would be no math.
I was told there'd be no math.
Well, if you move around the majors real quick, okay? And I know we've talked a lot about the Yankees, obviously. You mentioned, obviously, the Houston Astros. That pitching staff is so good.
Thank goodness the Nationals scooped up Kelvin Herrera. Keep the Houston bullpen weak.
My question to you is, are the Atlanta Braves for real?
No.
Okay. When do you think they fall off?
If not, the All-Star break right around there. You know, Acuna got hurt pretty bad, it looked like. That was a pretty nasty take. I think he tore up a knee or did something I don't know what was running the bases or sliding. So he's out for a little bit. He's a young stud. I mean, Albies he's hitting bombs. He's young. I mean, he's young guys hitting bombs.
He has 16 home runs, Albies.
I feel like he was supposed to be he could be a 2020 guy, right? Doesn't he have a lot of steals?
Yeah, I mean, but there's another guy. He's only hitting 248, but he's got 41 ribbies,
Freeman?
16. No.
Oh.
Albies.
Oh, Albies.
Freeman's hitting 330.
Freeman's a
hitter.
professional hitter,
Dude.
I don't like Atlanta's pitching staff. I think they're too young. Fulton Evans went down.
Julio Teheran is a dude.
That dude was terrible for a few years, but
he was.
Owns the Mets. That's
he
for sure.
owns the Mets. Maybe that's why I think he's a dude. Because every time I watch him pitch against the Mets, he just carves them up.
Andrew, the Mets on a little 3-game win streak here, buddy.
Yeah.
Talk to me. Do you like your odds here? Like, do you think is it going to take another 11-1 run right here to get you believing again?
Yeah, it has
What
to.
are you, like 7 games out, 6.5 a wild card?
Yeah, it has to. It has to be a run like that because, as Donnie LaGreca said, it's all well and good.
Donnie won.
But it doesn't really matter until they start putting, 6 or 7 together, then 4 or 5 together, then 3 series in a row. Because you're 7 games under 500. You are significantly below 500. So it's not going to take a win-win, loss, win-win, loss. That's not the type of stuff that's going to get you back. By the time the All-Star break comes around, you need to be at 500. That's about a month from now. That's where, I'll tell you what, if they're 500 at the All-Star break, I'll believe again. Because with the way baseball is right now, I don't believe anyone's going to run away with the NL East. And but more importantly, because they're really just going to be a wild card team if they make the playoffs, which is a stretch. I think nobody's running away with the wild card.
A lot of teams you got to jump in the NL East. I mean, listen, like I said, I don't think Atlanta's for real just yet.
Philly's not going to be for real either.
Philly's coming back down earth a little bit, but they're just playing well.
They won 3 in a row.
They'll be buyers. I hear they could be in the Manny Machado sweepstakes. For 1 year, and then they understand that, and they're willing to, I think, roll the dice in a shaky NL East and try to make that wild card push because they have a lot of prospects. They have the room, and then maybe if they do well, maybe they can convince him to stay, which I doubt. But I think Philly's going to be buyers.
Well,
I think Houston's going to be buyers. Like I said, Andrew,
the Nationals will.
Yep.
Well, and this is what I said to you before, and you told
Did I poo-poo it? What I did?
We talked about the Angels last week.
Boo, Angels.
And
I got a great Mike Trout.
We talked about.
Remind me to tell. I got a nugget for you. You're gonna laugh.
We talked about Ohtani and how important that injury was. And since the Angels have really slid, they're only 3 games over 500, and I think that is important because I think it is getting close to a time when if this keeps happening with the best player in baseball, Mike Trout, who is every day continuing to prove that he is the best player in baseball, and not winning, we're close to a fire sale in Anaheim. And I'm telling you, that's something to watch moving forward. Because this will be about the 4th straight year that Mike Trout has patrolled their center field and been one of the best players in Major League Baseball on one of the worst teams in Major League Baseball.
Is it time to move on from Scioscia? Mike Scioscia?
I think it is.
Has his 10-year window closed on that World Championship that he won a long time ago, the World Series?
I think it's the end of the line.
But I don't think there's no way you get rid of Mike Trout.
No, I don't think you do either.
Because
I'm not saying you're trading Mike Trout. I'm saying
you just need to know a lot of sellers.
You're probably going to trade
Who do they got?
other
Kinsler?
pieces.
What, Kinsler?
Because you
maybe some arms.
Something. Maybe.
Here, do you want this stat from Trout? This is you may fall off your chair here. Mike Trout could go 0 for his next 400 No joke. That's 400, Andrew. And still have a higher on-base percentage, .476, than what Chris Davis currently has right now, of .454.
Wow.
Oh, for 400.
Wow.
That's why Trout's on my fantasy squad. Andrew.
He is absolutely the best player in baseball. Here are some names.
Modern day Mickey Mantle.
Some
What do you
names
say?
that might stick out. Probably if you're the Angels and you decide to trade and you're trying to kind of spin it back a little bit younger, you obviously have Albert Pujols. You could probably trade to an AL team that either wants a bat off the bench or, a DH. But
He's
how
so
much is
old,
left
man.
in the tank?
Oh, man.
That's why I think he's a bat off the bench. It's possible. You're not going to get much back for him.
He'll stay AL. For
You
sure.
have Ian Kinsler, who I think could definitely help a team down the stretch in the playoffs, play a few different positions. Andrelton Simmons, who is a good shortstop. He's hitting the ball well. See, but I would think you keep him and Trout if you wanted to kind of do one of those kind of quick rebuild type things, because you do have some talent. You just need to kind of rebuild that talent. On the mound, though, and I think that's what, to your point before, there's really no one that interests you that much. Showtime is staying an Angel for as long as that contract lasts. And maybe Andrew Haney, but that doesn't really push the needle for anybody. And after that, maybe Martin Maldonado, if you wanted another
That's
catcher.
deep, man. That's
but
Andrew.
deep.
Stop it. You are so
really,
deep right now. You're the deep end.
Does that tell you
Your
how
floaties
important?
aren't on. You can't swim.
Does that tell you how important Ohtani was to the Angels?
No, I don't think so. I think this was just. I think they were just.
Smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
right.
Lipstick on a pig. They were
Yeah.
playing well, but you look. Houston's on a 12-game winning streak, and they're steamrolling through that division right now. And
Well-
Seattle is what, 20 games over 500, 19 now, and they're still below Houston. So the Angels weren't going to be for real.
Baseball is going.
There's going to be a bunch of sellers though, Andrew.
It's going to be there. There will be.
How about this for you? Let me rattle off a few for you. Kansas City, Toronto, and who else did I think? That was it.
Kansas City,
Toronto.
definitely.
And you just said maybe the Angels.
I don't think the Padres will.
No, Padres are playing pretty well.
No.
They're hanging around, but I don't
They,
think they're good enough.
they are. I think that the Rays are hanging around. I don't think the Rays. I don't know. I don't know if the Rays will.
The Rays should. The Rays could blow it up.
You
But,
think so?
but Toronto, Josh Donaldson, he's a bum.
That's got to get blown up.
Ah.
The whole thing's got to get blown up.
Solarte, Granderson, all those guys will move on.
100%. I think if Colorado falls out, that might be a place too.
Yeah, I would love Arenado.
But maybe not. I mean, I think he.
How about Arenado on the Mets?
I would love that. You kidding me?
Arenado at third baseman? He's
Oh,
one
man.
of those.
That'd be fantastic.
Unless David Wright comes back. Yeah, right.
Well, if I have a screen, Anthony, or a window or a door that I need to fix, and if I have a guy that I don't like, I'm going to trade my glass expert for Angelo from Hawthorne Glass.
Smart move.
And since it's the springtime and it's warm weather, it means that you, the people, need to fix those broken windows and fix those busted screens. And if you are tired of that outdated shower curtain, you want the nice glass, the window, the good little door. I mean, you get the little squeegee and clean off the steam after it's done. The whole nine. Our man Angelo, Hawthorne Glass, 973-427-4344. It's shower doors, it's tabletops, storefronts, windows, thermo paints. He does it all. Mention AA Balls, get 10% off of your first purchase. That's Angelo, that's Hawthorne Glass, and it's at 973-427-4344. Before the show today, we did a little bit of digging through the AA Balls archives.
Research.
And we still might be wrong. But that's okay.
No one's listening.
No one cares. We think, Anthony Rinaldo sits at 20 and 19 in the What Do You Got scoreboard standings.
No.
Nope.
20 and
20
18.
and 18.
Get it right, Andrew.
And Andrew sits at 17 and 21.
Gross.
And we are both forbid of ever picking golfers in the What Do You Got ever again.
That's because you started with, I'm going to take Sunday at the Masters because that's going to be a job.
And I won that day.
Yeah,
Jordan
of course. It's
Spieth.
Sunday at the Masters.
Jordan Spieth
Your man
was
didn't
bad.
make the cut.
If I would have chose Sunday at the Open, I'd be winning 2 points right now.
Yeah, but I wisely made you choose a player.
Well,
you chose
Jordan
wrong.
Spieth was bad, and for the reasons that I thought he might not be bad, maybe he'd figure out his putting. He didn't. But nobody did. It was that, we mentioned it before. It was a hard tournament. And Justin Thomas, what I wrote next to my notes was brutal. But he was a way better version of brutal than my guy. And he played 4 rounds of golf instead of 2. So you got those 2 points, which means this week you go first. Anthony Rinaldo, what do you got?
Andrew, take me to the diamond. I'm going to mess with your area of expertise. Going to rock out with my squad, Andrew. A little afternoon delight. 1 o'clock start, ladies and gentlemen. Your New York Yankees taking on the Mariners at home. Luis Severino, our ace, versus James Paxton out of Seattle. 6-1, 3-point-something ERA. Sevy's 10-2. I think with a 2.80 ERA or 3 ERA, something like that. Andrew can correct me if I'm wrong. I probably am. But, I mean, this could be the potential play-in game, the one-game wild card matchup. Yankee-Seattle in Yankee Stadium, hopefully. So you see, while we were, dishing the dirt tonight, Yankees took care of business. I want to see the Yankees take care of business tomorrow with Luis Siga against Old Man Hernandez. Talking about a spectrum there, Andrew. Dude going for a second start ever versus Felix Hernandez. I think was going on his 400 start.
Think about that experience difference. I mean, you're talking about one of the better pitchers in the game during this decade against a kid that is literally a kid.
Right. He look it up real quick if you can. I don't know if Felix has been in the league for 19 years. Was he like Bartolo Colon? Remember Bartolo Colon pitched to that one kid, like that one dude who wasn't even born yet or something? Yep. I feel like Bartolo Colon wants to play until one of his grandkids
Felix
plays.
Hernandez made his MLB debut in 2005. He is 32 years
13 years in the league. Damn.
I mean, he's got 166 wins. He's got a career ERA of 3.27. He's got 2,400-plus career strikeouts. I mean, this man's a Cy Young Award winner. He's a 6-time All-Star. I could keep going on.
Listen, it's going to be a great matchup. The next 2 games. Hopefully, my man Giancarlo can stay hot. He struggles in the Bronx, but it looks like he had a bomb in the first inning to deep center field. Looks like he may be coming around. So, Andrew, give me the Yanks. Give me Luis Severino. Give me 8 strong, 10 Ks, 1 walk because he got a little wild there. Yankees roll 6-1. Let's go.
Love it.
Andrew, what do you got?
Well, I want to comment on your got.
All right, got it.
Because I think what's great about this series right now, is the Mariners haven't been relevant in what feels like 5 years.
Since Edgar Martinez.
Since Griffey and the boys. And this is, to me, prove it. Can you come out, you lost on Tuesday night to the Yankees in the first game of the series. Can you bounce back, and can you beat their ace? I also want to see if they can win on Wednesday night. But either way, that was exciting for me to see that test for the Mariners going into this series. For me, I'm choosing the crosstown rival, the New York Mets, not because of my love and affinity, but because of the reasons we spoke about before. They were on a 3-game winning streak. Now, as we get this cast going, they're on a delay with their game with the Rockies, so we'll see if that game ends up playing.
Was a little foggy over there in Colorado, Andrew?
Either way.
A little foggy in the stadium?
I look for things, yeah, foggy for other reasons. I look for things that give me light as the Mets are playing better, and they got the Dodgers on Saturday.
Ooh.
And the Mets
playing
put up
better
runs.
Than Dodgers.
They put up runs for Jacob deGrom for the first time in what feels like months. Jacob deGrom's 5-2. He's my what do you got performer pick because he's pitching that day on Saturday, 7:15. He's got a 1.51 ERA. He leads the majors. He at one point pitched 5 or 6 straight games, giving up 1 run or less, and only came away with 1 win or no wins during that time. Some ridiculous stat like that. And icing on the cake, Anthony, that might be the day that the Dodgers are eyeing for Kershaw to come off the DL. So I got the Mets versus the Dodgers on Saturday, 7:15, and I got Jacob deGrom to go square head-to-head against your Luis Severino.
Aces out, Andrew. I can't listen. Baseball, it's kind of the dog days of summer. Summer starts actually on Thursday, my pick. So it's going to be hot. The weather's, it's getting nice. Get out there, people. Baseball season. You got it. World Cup is coming at you. What are we going to dab about, though, on Friday, Andrew? Give the crowd a little tease.
The NBA. Why?
NBA draft Thursday
That's
night.
it. We got the draft on Thursday night. We got Kawhi Leonard coming out
Dude is bitching about
and saying he doesn't want to be in San Antonio. Kyrie has obviously stated that he wants to go to free agency and doesn't want to sign an extension yet with Boston. So what's interesting about that is, does Danny Ainge try and pull off another trade? Obviously, Paul George's name gets circulated because does he re-sign with OKC? Does he go to LA? Is he a part of the LeBron sweepstakes?
The LeBron summit, I believe, is LeBron, Kawhi, and Paul George meeting to discuss how they can combine themselves and beat the Golden State Warriors. Those three alone, I don't think do it yet. It'll be good, don't get me wrong. I think they're up there, but I don't think they're as good as Golden State. I don't think they're as good as Houston. They're better than Houston. But Houston will give them a run for their money if CP3 stays.
I just don't see it happening, though.
Yeah, and you hear Windhorst said it, LeBron, and this is a terrible statement, LeBron is looking for a reason to stay in Cleveland. You never want to be looking for a reason to stay somewhere. If you're looking for a reason, that means you better pack your bags and go. Am I right, Andrew?
I agree, and I don't think that Cleveland...
Like, if you're staying around with some broad you don't love no more, you're just staying around because it's easy, that ain't right. For you or her. Same thing with LeBron. If you're looking for a reason to stay with somebody, chances are you shouldn't be staying with that person.
I've been a firm believer the whole year, and I've said it to you, and I've said it to the people of this cast. I thought and I believe LeBron James was staying in Cleveland this whole year. The more this summer goes on, is the more I believe LeBron James is leaving. And now we are smack dab in the middle of the players control the narrative era. And for a third time, we're going to watch LeBron James control the narrative, and the entire NBA is going to sit back and wait for LeBron James to decide what LeBron James wants to do, and then everybody else will start making their decisions.
He is going to put Cleveland in the grinder, Andrew, because they're going to have to pick Thursday, and they have no idea what LeBron's going to do because he ain't talking until first week in July when he's got to let Cleveland know if he's coming back to sign that max contract or what have you. I think it's the rules or what have you. So Cleveland, if you're Cleveland, I mean, I don't even think they're talking to LeBron about who to pick, which I find interesting. Obviously, I don't know if you always want to ask your players who they should pick up, but in this case, you're asking LeBron. I think you want to tender your pick in hopes of keeping him happy. What kind of player, LeBron, do you want to play with? We do have the 8th pick. Do we package that with K-Love for a Kawhi Leonard? Can you get your boys to come play with Cleveland since you want to stay here? I mean, does that work? But obviously, I don't think San Antonio would take a package from Cleveland. When they can get a better package of young studs from LA, they can get a better package of picks from Boston and young talent. Even Philly could offer a better package, I feel like, for Kawhi, if that's the route they want to go. So it's going to be a crazy few days, Andrew, in the NBA, and I think there's going to be a lot of dominoes dropping. And I don't know. I think it starts with LeBron in July, but I think it's all on Magic Johnson.
But I think the thing though is that
pressure's on.
These guys to get traded have to want to sign with that team. So you have to eliminate like 25 teams right off the bat because you're not a team like, let's say, Phoenix. They have the number 1 pick in the draft. Phoenix isn't going to trade with a San Antonio for a Kawhi Leonard and the number 1 overall pick because Phoenix knows Kawhi Leonard's not going to re-sign with them at the end of this year. Kyrie's not going to get traded to the Milwaukee Bucks for a Jabari Parker and whatever the hell their draft pick is, simply because that's the best move for Danny Ainge when Kyrie isn't going to re-sign there. And that's where the players control the narrative. And that's what's so crazy about this situation is people talk about, the franchise controls the player. Yeah, well, that's true to a certain extent. But the problem is you're never going to get the best deal because when the player flat out comes out and says, I only want to go to this place, the other 30 teams in the NBA are like, well, why am I going to go offer somebody for Kawhi Leonard or for LeBron James or Kyrie Irving or whoever it is on the docket at that time? He doesn't want to come stay here anyways. He's got 1 year left on his deal when he comes here. If we're not even close to competing with the Golden State Warriors or the Cleveland Cavaliers or the Boston Celtics, why the heck would we even do that? I'd rather stay in the draft, probably deal with 1 more year of LeBron's team in the East being the best and Golden State having this run or maybe Houston knocking them off, and keep going through the draft than trying to kill my future in longevity just because a guy like Kawhi Leonard could come, when in actuality that doesn't really do much for me, especially in right now's NBA.
It's going to be an interesting Thursday, Andrew. I don't think any of these chips are going to fall the way we see it. I know there's a lot of hype, a lot of mock drafts out there. Knicks got the 9th pick. Let's get after it. New York, let's figure it out. Probably going to go Trae Young or a shooter. I'll take him. I'll take Mikal Bridges.
Take Bridges.
Give me somebody with some substance, some balls. Andrew wants to play some defense. A little dirty New York style.
So we're going to hit that on the DAAB Friday.
Dab it.
That's a teaser for you people. But you got to come back on Podbean, on Apple Podcasts, on iTunes. There's a whole bunch of them. If you go to Anchor, if you go to DAABpodcast.com, if you go to iTunes, there's all different links. You can find the AA Balls podcast. And, of course, you got to hit us on the Twitter and on the Instagram.
Social media blues.
At AA Balls on both. Of course, the PowerOnPerformance.com for your gear and for your apparel. Hit the DAAB on Friday. We're getting the NBA draft in. We're getting NBA free agency. It's going to be a lot of fun. Tell your friends.
Tell your friends. Tell your friends. The summer's getting started, folks. We're just getting started. Let's go, Andrew. Take me out of here.
I am Andrew Romanella. That is Anthony Rinaldi. This is the AA Balls podcast, and we are out.
This has been the AA Balls podcast, powered by PowerArm Performance, your leader in baseball and softball training apparel. Visit PowerArmPerformance.com to get your gear and begin training the PowerArm way today.